Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk to you about how to hire a virtual assistant to help with your business and what the interview process should look like for you guys if you are hiring a virtual assistant. I hire all of my virtual assistants through a website called Onlinejobs.ph, and they have been super helpful with finding highly qualified virtual assistants, all from the Philippines. And each virtual assistant that I've had working for me so far has amazing English, which is super helpful when you're trying to teach them something or trying to get them to respond to customer service inquiries from your store or whatnot. And you need them to be able to speak proper English if they are responding to these inquiries. So the main things to look for when you are completing the interview process is, well, first things first is I do all my interviews through Skype. So you get their Skype username and then add them, or they can add you, and then you set up a Skype call with them. Make sure you focus on the time zone difference and make sure that you set a time that is going to work for both of you. I've had issues where I've told a virtual assistant a time that I would like to set up a Skype call for, and then they assume that it's the time in the Philippines rather than the time here, and then we end up not being able to do the call and not making the interview. So make sure you specify which time zone you are referring to when you tell them which time, because that's very important. And then also keep in mind to let them know what hours you'd like them to work. If it's a job where you don't really need them to be contacting you and you don't need to be able to respond to them when they're working, then let them work whatever time works best for them. And if you need to be able to contact them during the time that you're awake, then make sure you tell them that also and be upfront with them about what time they are going to be working. Because the majority of the time, if they're working, if you're in the Canada or United States, if they are working during the time that you're going to be awake, it's most likely going to be like a graveyard shift over in the Philippines because of the time zone difference. So just make sure you let them know that up front, and just give them as much detail about the job as possible prior to even doing the interview. Do this via the email or through online jobs, the messaging back and forth, and just let them know kind of what you're going to expect of them, and make sure that they have the proper credentials even before interviewing them, because you don't want to waste your time either, and you don't want to waste their time in completing interviews that you don't need to actually do if the person's not going to be the right fit for the position that you are going to be hiring them for. So make sure those things, and then when you do actually find someone that has the proper credentials and that you think you may be interested in hiring, then start the Skype call with them. First of all, introduce yourself, and then ask them any questions pertaining to the actual position that you're going to be hiring them for. So in this example, we'll say that it's a position for someone that's going to be listing products on Amazon for you, and then you'll tell them which retailer to list from, and they will list the items for you that you'll be drop shipping on Amazon. This is just an example. So the first thing I would ask them is, do you have any experience with Amazon? And if they do have experience with listing on Amazon, then make sure you ask them how they've listed in the past. Have they listed for people who are drop shippers, or have they listed just for people who actually own the inventory and then they give them a list? Because there's a lot of different things to keep in mind with that. Also, in the Philippines, their internet is a lot slower than ours, so you can't expect as much out of them for getting listed in a day because of that. Most of the time they go as quick as possible. And then so ask them as many questions as you want about the job if they have experience, and then what their experience entails. After that, ask them when they'd be available to work, what their wage expectation is, kind of similar to a job interview that you'd get at any job. So it's basically very similar to that, but you just want to make sure that they're going to be trustworthy people, especially if you're going to be giving them any of your payment information to complete orders for you and stuff like that. You want to make sure that they're trustworthy. And everyone that I've hired off Onlinejobs.ph has been super trustworthy and has been great employees. So I don't I'm not worried about that for you guys, but just keep that in mind, that you do want to make sure that if someone says that they're completely fluent in English and they can't understand anything that you're saying and you want them for a customer service role, that's probably not going to be a good fit. So you want to also make sure when you are emailing back and forth with them originally that their English is up to the standards that you're expecting them to be up to, because the majority of them have very good English, so it's not something that you have to be too worried about, but just keep in mind that there are some people on there that don't have as good English. And then also ask them how many hours a week they're looking for. Some people are already working a full-time job and they're looking only to take on a part-time job because they're trying to make ends meet and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. Ask them if you're looking to hire full-time, make sure that they're available for full-time hours, and also check on their profile before you interview them to make sure that they're not already hired full-time, because ideally you don't want to hire someone that is already working full-time and then have them work, say, 10 or 20 hours for you, because you're not going to get their full focus on your business, and that's something to also keep in mind. Ask them if they have any experience as being a virtual assistant in the past, because that's something you want to know, if they have been a virtual assistant before and if they're going to be trustworthy. And then another big question that I've had certain people that I've interviewed that haven't got the position as a result of this is, make sure you let them know that you use the Onlinejobs.ph time tracker, which tracks their time and takes a screenshot every 10 minutes that they are working for you as a virtual assistant. So you can constantly check that they're actually staying on task and not going on Facebook or watching videos and stuff like that, because you want to make sure that they are staying on task and focusing on the work that you've assigned to them and not getting off track. So if they are not willing to use time tracker, I've had certain people I've interviewed that say, I don't use that. That's kind of a sign to me that they're probably going to get off topic or going to be doing something else on the side. And if they're worried about you taking screenshots or about the time tracker taking screenshots every 10 minutes, then they're probably not going to be the right fit for your company. So just keep that in mind. And that's kind of the majority of it. It usually takes about 20 to 30 minutes. And then never tell them that you're going to hire them on the spot, because there could be someone else that comes up that's a better fit. So just say, I'll let you know in a few days or in a day, however long. And if the person's really the right fit, then say, I'll let you know within 24 hours. Then you at least have 24 hours to think it over and make sure that they are actually going to be the right fit for your business, and that they're going to help your business become either more profitable or save you time. Because you don't want to just hire them just for the heck of it, just to say I have a virtual assistant working for me. You need to make sure that they're actually going to be doing tasks each day, especially if they're working full-time, that you're going to actually have 40 hours of work for them to do each week, because if you don't, then there's no sense paying them for the 40 hours a week, and you'd be best off looking for a part-time person off Onlinejobs.ph from the Philippines. But yeah, that's totally up to you. You gotta just make sure that you train them well, because that's the main thing, is after you do hire them, make sure you spend a few days with them, training them based on what they are going to be doing within your business. And if it's something that, like listing on Amazon, that they already have experience with, then you may only have to spend part of a day explaining what you want done and where you want listed from and stuff like that. So overall, the interview process is pretty easy on Online Jobs, and then once you do decide to hire them, you just go onto their profile and click either hire part-time or hire full-time. And that will allow you to actually hire them, and they will either be delisted from the search from other people finding them, or some people do stay available for being found on Onlinejobs.ph and leave their resume and stuff on there. Oh, that's another thing, is make sure you check their resume and get a resume, or I think they call it a CV over there, and just make sure you get them to send you that. And check that over even before interviewing them, because that's good to know kind of the stuff that they've done in the past. And that's where I will sometimes tailor some questions directly from that. So if someone said that they had like 5 years experience working with a company that sold on Amazon, and they dealt with Amazon A to Z claims and with all customer service, I would ask them a question about that, saying like, what have you done in the past to get A to Z claims solved? And then just see if they understand that question. If they say that they've done something on their resume and then they actually haven't, then definitely don't hire them. You want to make sure you hire someone that's very trustworthy, so make sure that their answers line up with what they've said that they've done in the past. And another thing to keep in mind is I only hire people who have actually had experience with being a virtual assistant, just because there's so many people on there that kind of gives you a better opportunity with someone who at least knows what it's like to be a virtual assistant, and make sure that they're self-motivated, because the majority of the time they are, if they have had the experience with working as a virtual assistant in the past. So I hope this helps. If you guys do have any other questions about the interview process on Onlinejobs.ph, feel free to leave a comment below, and then I'll also leave a link in the description so that you can get a free trial for Onlinejobs.ph, and so you can get right into creating a job post and get the word out there that you're looking for a virtual assistant. And then at that point you'll start getting people sending you messages, and see what yes, make sure you set it at a fair wage expectation, and that way you'll get a lot of messages very quickly. So I hope this helps, guys, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.